Live from Canterlot, it's the 2015 roast of Princess Celestia, with your special guest, Prince Vegeta.
Well. If it isn't the princess, and if it isn't the prince of all Saiyans, how are you doing, son butt?
I dare you to call me Sunbutt one more time.
Son butt.
You big double-crossers!
In hindsight, he wasn't the best guest choice. I blame myself, and so will the Dragon Ball fans. Doubtless many of you are saying that I, one of Celestia's most vocal critics and trolls, am the worst choice. No! Second worst choice for celebrating her. But I hope it's clear by now that I tend to troll all characters, especially the ones I like. And while I may be a self-professed Luna fanboy, she's not complete without her role model of a sister. Of all the characters in MLP, Celestia is one of the most contested. Some adore her and others denounce her, usually due to her role within the show. I think a lot of frustration comes from a question: how powerful is Celestia? The show opened with her raising the sun and eventually assuming control of the moon as well. Given that these celestial bodies were once worshipped as gods themselves, it's no surprise that we as fans viewed Celestia herself as a divine power. For the first season, I went with the assumption that Twilight and company could go have parties and enjoy minor adventures because Celestia was watching over them, keeping the true darkness at bay. And then this started to happen. Yeah, Celestia suffered a lot of defeats and even humiliations in order to demonstrate the stakes. And some of the audience started asking, if this keeps happening, what good is she? And others said she meant to do that. Because Celestia has prophetic dreams, many believe that she knows the outcome of events long before they take place and can plan accordingly. She threw that fight with Chrysalis. She knew Twilight would unlock rainbow power. She knows what to do because she knows what's going to happen. And so the debate goes on because there's an air of mystery about Celestia. We're never sure of how much she knows or where her abilities end. This touches on a separate theme for me. A character is not defined by her power. Whatever Celestia can or cannot do magically is not as important as how she behaves as a character. Now, if you want to start a flame war, ask people to describe Celestia. There are so many parodies of Celestia in the fandom. Tyrant Lestia, Troll Lestia, Sombrero Lestia. It'll catch on, trust me. I think a lot of this was pushback against Celestia's presentation in Season 1. This image of frozen perfection, eternally young, perfectly kind and patient, something mere mortals can aspire towards but never grasp. And guys, I don't think that image applies anymore. It started with little things like Celestia's enjoyment of cake and has slowly grown to her appearance in episode 100. Celestia isn't an image of perfection anymore, but she is an example of maturity. Let's start with the obvious. She's over 1,000 years old and doesn't look a day over 25. 22? Right, 22. Longevity, often wrongly described as immortality, is nothing new to sci-fi and fantasy. But you know how most folks describe it?
He knew very well that immortality was a curse.
Immortality is a curse, brother. Trust me.
To live on, as we have, is to leave behind joy and love and companionship, because we know it to be transitory, of the moment.
Granted, remaining frozen in time as the world you know keeps changing is a burden most can't imagine. Let's ask how many times Celestia has found herself in the same situation. Making friends, developing attachments, watching them grow up and have an impact on the world only to say goodbye as old age claims them. And there's Celestia, witnessing the legacy but not able to be with the friend. It would be so easy for this to wear Celestia down into apathy, but she remains a kind spirit who's quick to forgive and slow to anger. If anything, she seems to be using her experience to appreciate life and live in the moment, something she tries to convey to Twilight and the others. I'm of the view that Celestia has enough experience behind her to take a negative situation and turn it into a lesson. This isn't born from any mythical power, but rather a mind that has learned to adapt and focus in the moment. That said, I do criticize when these lessons take place during a high-stakes event like the Crystal Empire. Life lessons are best shown in the middle of the season with a payoff in the two-parters, much like how Celestia supported Twilight during Discord's return. And I still call foul on her plan to counter Tyrek, yet I view that as a weakness of the writing and not the character. That's not to say she doesn't have bad days. In fact, one of the truest signs that she loves some pony is that she's willing to be upset about them. Only 2 ponies are close enough to Celestia to really get on her bad side. Twilight for her blunder in a Canterlot wedding, and Luna in the recent Slice of Life episode. I wish we could see more of that with Celestia, maybe allow her to have a heart-to-heart with Sunset Shimmer, because seeing her emotional is one of the best demonstrations that Celestia isn't arbitrarily good. She has her own faults or emotions to overcome and can slip up. This is what makes her a symbol of maturity. She has the confidence and poise of someone comfortable in her role and identity, but isn't so uptight that she's unwilling to have some fun. Yeah, like that. No, for real, I could see her doing this in the show. Which brings us to the question, is Celestia a troll? Trolling is used a lot online, from teasing to out-and-out mental abuse, and I've seen a lot of folks put Celestia in the latter category. Let me ask, has Celestia's jokes ever caused some pony to cry? There's been disorder, certainly, but what was lost? Celestia and Luna have some unusual forms of entertainment.
I love to duck behind the paintings, and though the Hall of Hooves still gives her a bit of a fright, the trapdoor slide is Luna's favorite.
But it mostly seems like she's just trying to get ponies to lighten up, to not take events so seriously and learn to enjoy the moment rather than fear what happens next. So the gala went crazy. It's still a night to laugh about. We'll admit, having a pony nearly get banished is skirting the line of decency, but again, I don't think Celestia knew how this would play out. It's unusual or quirky, but I don't doubt that Celestia intends it to be fun rather than dangerous. But seriously, dude was going to chuck a hippie into another dimension. Why didn't you try that sooner? So what does all of this mean? We know so little about Celestia, which leaves a lot of room for people to fill in the blanks or sometimes go to extremes. I do think there's a mature, respectable character there who gets stuck in an awkward role for the show. In a series that's about life lessons and growth, Celestia represents the ideal goal, a maturity born from experience and focused on helping others. I'm not asking that Celestia be given equal status as the main 6, but would it hurt to have an episode where she truly gets to shine on screen? Either way, Princess, I'm a fan of yours. Doesn't mean I won't drive you nuts in the future because I'm, me, but it doesn't mean I think less of you as a character. I'm Silver-Quill and... Galagon! I guess I had this coming. I'm okay.